Hello friends, you are on the channel Quotes of Great Men. Enjoy watching. It is only our bad temper that we put down to being tired or worried or hungry. We put our good temper down to ourselves. Christ did not die for man because they were intrinsically worth dying for, but because he is intrinsically love, and therefore loves infinitely. You can't know, you can only believe or not. Odd, the way the less the Bible is read, the more it is translated. When pain is to be borne, a little courage helps more than much knowledge, a little human sympathy more than much courage, and the least tincture of the love of God more than all. Miracles do not, in fact, break the laws of nature. In the truest sense, Christian pilgrims have the best of both worlds. We have joy whenever this world reminds us of the next, and we take solace whenever it does not. Part of every misery is, so to speak, the misery's shadow or reflection, the fact that you don't merely suffer but have to keep on thinking about the fact that you suffer. I not only live each endless day in grief, but live each day thinking about living each day in grief. When you have reached your own goal, be kind to those who have chosen different doors and to those who are still in the hall. A real desire to believe all the good you can of others and to make others as comfortable as you can will solve most of the problems. This is one of the miracles of love. It gives a power of seeing through its own enchantments and yet not being disenchanted. A children's story that can only be enjoyed by children is not a good children's story in the slightest. You and I have need of the strongest spell that can be found to wake us from the evil enchantment of worldliness. Prostitutes are in no danger of finding their present life so satisfactory that they cannot turn to God. The proud, the avaricious, the self-righteous are in that danger. We have failed to practice ourselves the kind of behavior we expect from other people. Forgiving and being forgiven are two names for the same thing. The important thing is that a discord has been resolved. Length of days with an evil heart is only length of misery. Forgive us as we forgive. We are offered forgiveness on no other terms. To refuse it is to refuse God's mercy for ourselves. Virtue, even attempted virtue, brings light. Indulgence brings fog. You will not find the warrior, the poet, the philosopher, or the Christian by staring into his eyes as if he were your mistress. Better fight beside him, read with him, argue with him, pray with him. We have a strange illusion that mere time cancels sin. There have been times when I think we do not desire heaven, but more often I find myself wondering whether, in our heart of hearts, we have ever desired anything else. In silence and in meditation on the eternal truths, I hear the voice of God which excites our hearts to greater love. It is after you have realized that there is a real moral law and a power behind the law, and that you have broken that law and put yourself wrong with that power, it is after all this, and not a moment sooner, that Christianity begins to talk. If the church is not making disciples, then all the cathedrals, clergy, missions, sermons, even the Bible are a waste of time. It is hardly complimentary to God that we should choose Him as an alternative to hell. Our experience is colored through and through by books and plays and the cinema, and it takes patience and skill to disentangle the things we have really learned from life for ourselves. Once in our world, a stable had something in it that was bigger than our whole world. I want God, not my idea of God. We shall not be well so long as we love and admire anything more than we love and admire God. Until you have given up yourself to Him, you will not have a real self. If we really think that home is elsewhere and that this life is a wandering to find home, why should we now look forward to the arrival? Heaven, once attained, will work backwards and turn even agony into a glory. To every soul, God will look like its first love because He is its first love. Your place in heaven will seem to be made for you and you alone, because you were made for it stitch by stitch as a glove is made for a hand. You can't analyze God. He's too awesome, too big, too mysterious. We only learn to behave ourselves in the presence of God. You would not have called to me unless I had been calling to you, said the lion. It is not enough to want to get rid of one's sins. We also need to believe in the one who saves us from our sins. Talk to me about the truth of religion and I'll listen gladly. Talk to me about the duty of religion and I'll listen submissively. But don't come talking to me about the consolations of religion or I shall suspect that you don't understand. Thanks for watching. Check out these educational videos too.